Other states will do exactly the same thing and neutralize what you're trying to do in Texas. It's not going to work because we are not going to let it work. We are going to stand strong with these courageous individuals who are standing behind me, who come to Illinois knowing that the rest of the nation is with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And as he said, we are ready to fight fire with fire. No butter knife to the gunfight. We are ready to bring the fire, bring the heat. We can do that too. And it's absolutely my pleasure to introduce Chair of the Progressive Caucus, Representative Ana Maria Rodriguez Ramos. I got that out. Yes.
Hello everyone, thank you for being with us today. Buenas tardes, soy Ana Maria Rodriguez Ramos, diputada del Distrito 102. I am the state representative for House District 102. And we're here fighting because instead of Governor Abbott and Texas Republicans focusing on working families and the negative impacts of Trump's horrible bill, as I shared and I expressed with my colleagues the other day, with his horrible bill, my daughter just got an organ transplant 6 months ago. With his horrible bill, I don't know that we can pay 75% increase in premiums. It is going to hurt my family and thousands of families statewide and nationwide. His horrible bill is hurting working families. When families can't afford to buy groceries, when families don't know if they're going to be able to keep their children alive because they can't no longer afford health care, that is what our focus should be. But instead they're focusing on pushing these racist radical redistricting maps. And why is it racist? Because 70%, over 60% of our Texas population are Hispanic and African American and our Asian community. That is the largest African American population in the country is in Texas. The second largest Hispanic population in the country is in Texas. But they want to silence our voice. This is nothing short of blatant racism. They're going to cry and say, no, you can't say that. In fact, they punished us. Congressman Crockett knows that. They don't allow us to say that word on the House floor. They say, you can't call us what we are. Use another word. But that is what you are, and that is what you are trying to do. Hurt these working families. Trump's policies when he's kidnapping families of color in the streets, that is nothing short of racism. He is coming after all of us who don't look like him and his Republican colleagues in the Texas House. So I will now introduce beautiful Congressman Al Green, wonderful congressman from Houston, who's going to really share a little more and enlighten a little more about the impact of these maps. Thank you.
Representative Rodriguez Ramos. Friends, after her profound words, it just seems to me that we ought to give her another expression of appreciation. And to all of my colleagues who have traversed some great distance to be here, and I'm talking about the state representatives now, I consider you my colleagues, it's easy to do something when you don't have to do it. They are leaving their homes, they're leaving their families, they have jobs, they have responsibilities, and this is courage that is uncommon. And with this kind of courage, they ought to be commended as well. Let's give them a big hand, please. Yes, we have a challenge before us. Dr. King reminded us that life is an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. What impacts one directly impacts all indirectly. And that's what we're facing now, this challenge of it not being Texas. It's not just Texas. It really is the United States of America, because if they succeed in Texas, they will take this to other states, they will take this to the county court level, they will take this to the commissioners, the school boards, they will take this across the length and breadth of the country, but they'll do it if we only stand by and watch them. But if we take a stand, we can stop them. That's what we're doing today. We're taking a stand, and we're going to prevent them from going forward in Texas.
All right.
Here's why we have to take this stand. Because one vote makes a difference.
That's right.
One vote makes a difference. It was one vote that allowed them to get the big, ugly steal out of the House.
That's right.
One vote. And it was one vote in the Senate with the vice president casting that vote that allowed it to get out of the Senate and back to the House. Friends, I regret to tell you that the 18th Congressional District was not represented when that first vote took place. It was not. If the 18th had been represented, they'd have to find that one vote someplace else. One vote makes a difference. And in Texas, they are trying to silence 5 Democratic voices in the Congress of the United States of America. They have already made an effort to eliminate some of the districts. They are no longer going to be, there's no possibility of Democrats being elected. They are doing what the president has insisted be done, and I want you to know that we didn't introduce the race card. When this message was sent by and through the Justice Department to the state of Texas, to our Attorney General, they mentioned the race card because they talked about racial gerrymandering. They brought it up, and when they brought it up, they did it knowing that this was a buzzword. It was a trigger. They knew that if they could use the race card in Texas, where we've had white primaries, and when the Supreme Court said, well, you can't do that, then we had white pre-primaries, where we've had all sorts of obstacles to voting. They knew that that's a buzzword that people would respond to in Texas. But we are going to respond to that buzzword by telling them that your racism is not going to change democracy in the state of Texas, it's not going to change it in the United States of America. Racism is going to be met with our taking a stand for democracy. You take a stand for racism, we will stand for democracy, and we will win. We will win. Democracy is going to win. My comment is this. As you know, the president and I don't exchange Christmas cards. The president is a very vindictive person. He is a don't bring me any bad news person. Just fired someone because he got bad news. We friends have to understand what we're dealing with. And if we understand what we're dealing with, we can stop what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an egomaniacal person who believes that he has to be right, and if he's not, then the world is wrong. He would impeach judges that differ with him. He would fire people that don't give him good news. He would change congressional districts just to get rid of people that have challenged him. But I want you to know this. The challenge is not over. It is not. Yes, we have brought challenges against him. And I want to assure you of this. There are no circumstances that will prevent me from continuing to challenge the bigotry emanating from the presidency in policy. I will not stop, and I promise you, this president is going to he's going to be brought down. Yes. He's going to be brought down. He has to be brought down. And I don't mean physically. I'm talking about politically. We will bring him down. He will be impeached again. I thank you.
I'd like to bring on Chair Jessica Gonzalez.
Hello, again, my name is Jessica Gonzalez, and I'm proud to represent House District 104, which includes parts of Dallas and Grand Prairie. I'm also honored to be the chair of the Texas House LGBTQ caucus. Look, when we all got elected here, we were elected by our constituents, and that's who we work for. They elected us to represent their voices, their family, and their future. And that's exactly what we're all doing here by denying Texas Republicans quorum in order to pass these rigged congressional maps. And so I'm very proud to stand united with my Democratic colleagues. Look, one thing I do know is that Texas House Democrats know how to fight. We've been in these fights before. We've had to fight every single day when we're in regular session. We have our sleeves are rolled up, and we're ready to take this fight wherever it's going to take us, because our communities, our state, and our nation is definitely worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
And we know this is not about providing flood relief, because these congressional maps have been pushed. We have not had real discussions about providing folks relief who are in desperate need of it. And so we're just not going to stand for it. We're tired of it, and we're not going to let them do that to our communities. And so I'm proud to stand here united with my Democratic colleagues. You know, when I first got elected to House District 104, I was the first Latina to ever serve in that position, and I'm very, very proud of that. My community is a majority-minority district, and so when we do these kinds of, play these political games that Republicans want to play with our communities, it hurts people like in my district, and the districts of people that are standing behind me. And we take our jobs serious, unlike Texas House Republicans. So thank you. And next, I want to introduce our former colleague, Congresswoman Julie Johnson.
The most beautiful group of people. It's a big honor for me to be standing here as a former colleague, a former member of the Texas House, a former quorum breaker. And protesting the right to vote in Texas, and now as a member of Congress. And what is happening is so outrageous. And I want to talk a little bit about my district and the impact that this is having. So I represent Texas 32nd Congressional District. It's an urban district. It's 80% in Dallas County. A little bit of the Collin County, the county to my north, and a little bit of Denton County. But for the most part, it's very urban. There's not a single farm plot in Texas 32. They have divided it into 7 new congressional districts. 2 that go all the way to the Oklahoma border. 2 that go almost from Dallas to the Louisiana border. And then the others in a mishmash of rural Texas. My district I have 7 cities that have been dismembered, paired with 6 to 7 rural counties. So what they've done is they've taken a group of people, predominantly minority, I have a minority-majority coalition seat of a city, and then paired it with 5 to 6 rural counties that have no commonality of interest whatsoever. The issues facing the constituents of my district are very different than the issues facing the constituents of Upshur County, which is in very East Texas. They're very different issues. I have 62% renters. That county is mostly rural white farmers. And the list goes on and on. And so what is happening here is the most blatant, racist disregard for the voters of Texas. Because let me remind you, and I was there, we were all there when these maps were passed in 2021 by unanimous votes of the Republicans who've just now issued arrest warrants for my dear colleagues and friends. Because they all swore at that time these maps were the most beautiful maps. They were perfect. They didn't disenfranchise voters. They've had lawsuits. They've filed affidavits. They've given depositions. They've sworn and all at waste to Sunday that these are the perfect maps. Until President Trump gets nervous because his poll numbers are in the crapper. Because he knows that the American people are not swallowing the crap he's pushing. because he's harming millions and millions of people. His poll waters are underwater, and he knows he's not going to win. He knows he's not going to win in November of 2026. So rather than push for policies that the American voters want to support, they come back with this rigged up thing, a DOJ opinion that implies that these Texas maps now have to be completely dismembered. And it's wrong. And the voters of Texas, I hope, are listening. Because the courage that my dear friends and colleagues are showing by saying, no. We're protesting. We're putting ourselves at great risk to stand up for democracy and America. And voters, I hope you're seeing that. I hope you're feeling it. I hope you are experiencing the courage and the hope that these folks are providing. Because what is happening is an attack on our democracy throughout this entire country. And I'm so pleased and so proud that they're standing up for us all. Because what's happening here now is cracking throughout other states. You know, we're having a national conversation over voter rights. And I want to encourage California and New York and Maryland and Washington State to say, you know what, our gloves are off. If war is war, and Democrats, if y'all are going to do it in Texas, we're going to do it here, and this is a national war. And Democrats are no longer going to sit by handcuffed. This is an all-out war, and everything is on the table. That's right. And that is a message I really hope gets out loud and clear. But at the end of the day, I want to say thank you to each one of you for what you're doing. Know that the Democrats of the United States House of Representatives are 100% behind you. I hope you're feeling it. And I hope you out there, the voters, are getting a little glimmer of why politics is important. And that if they say, well, I don't know, politics doesn't affect me. I'm saying, honey, it does. If you don't do politics, politics will do you. And here we are. Politics is doing a lot of people right now. But you know, I want to end with this. We're all very proud Texans up here. Yeah. Most of us. Some are proud. We're all very proud Texans. We come from a state of great pride. And I never thought, as a Texan, as an elected member of the Texas House of Representatives, and now as an elected member from Texas to the United States House of Representatives, that I would see the governor of the proud state of Texas bend a knee to a felon from New York. Never thought I'd see the day. But here we are.
Now, my honor to introduce Rep. Busey.
Thank you all so much. I'm so proud to stand with my colleagues in the Texas House and our friends in Congress. We're all here tonight, not on vacation. We are here fighting and actively working for our constituents and the people of Texas. This is us on the job, fighting for our constituents. Hi everyone, my name is State Representative John Busey, and I have the great pleasure of representing Austin in House District 136. Look, I didn't run for office to walk out of the Capitol. But I also didn't run for office to stand by while democracy is stolen in broad daylight. Texas Democrats broke quorum because sometimes the only way to uphold your oath is to refuse to play along with the rigged game. Let's be clear. This special session was supposed to be about saving lives after a tragedy. A cabin full of 8-year-old girls was washed away in the middle of the night. Families called 911 only to hear that help wasn't coming. At the end of the day, 137 Texans lost their lives. That's an emergency. That demands our action. But instead of holding hearings on flood prevention, Greg Abbott and Donald Trump held 8 hearings on redistricting. Not for fairness, not for representation, but to manufacture 5 more Republican seats in Congress to enable Trump to cling on to power. That isn't governing, that's a heist. And we're here to stop it. When politicians can redraw the maps in the middle of the decade just because they're scared that voters won't reelect them, that's betrayal. Look, the governor can lie all he wants, but we're not running away, we're running into the fight. Texas Democrats are standing up for one of our most basic American principles, the right to representation. So no, this isn't political theater, it's survival. Because if we lose the power to choose our leaders, we lose everything. We broke quorum because this isn't just about maps, it's about power. And in Texas, the power still belongs to the voters. I want to thank y'all so much, and I have the pleasure of introducing one of our great champions, Congressman Mark Vesey. He's a passionate advocate for Texas's 33rd district. He's fighting for working families, voting rights, and economic opportunity. And if you didn't know, he's in fact is the founder of the Voting Rights Caucus in Congress. He's from Fort Worth to Washington. Congressman Vesey has shown us that he will stand up to Donald Trump, he will fight for Texans, and he will fight for Americans. Please help me welcome our good friend, Congressman Mark Vesey.
Thank you, Representative. And you know, the press, y'all been getting something wrong. I've been seeing a lot of headlines that say that these Texas legislators are fleeing. These Texas legislators ain't fleeing. These Texas legislators are fighting. Yeah. They are fighting corruption, they are fighting racism, and they are fighting rigging. And that is what it is all about. And I gotta tell you, it's crazy to think about that 60 years ago today, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 declared that no American, no Black American, no Latino American, no Asian American, no working class voter would ever be denied their voice in our democracy because of who they are or where they live. But that promise is under attack today by Greg Abbott bending a knee to Donald Trump. And it is absolutely wrong, and it is embarrassing. And I gotta tell you, I'm proud of these heroes that are standing behind me, some of which are my former colleagues in the state legislature, where I spent 8 years before going to Congress. And I gotta tell you, I came into Congress right after the 2003 mid-decade redistricting, when a group of Democrats had just left the state to block discriminatory redistricting that had happened literally just before I was sworn in. And I gotta tell you, we made a big mistake back then. We had no blue states back during that time period after Tom DeLay did his mid-decade redistricting. We didn't have any Democratic states that followed suit. And so it gave them the incentive to do it again, and that's why we are here right now. But I gotta tell all of my friends that are Republicans, that are out there watching right now, the game has changed, baby. It ain't the same no more. It ain't the same no more. We are going to match Donald Trump's energy when it comes to redistricting. As it was said before, it's been Democrats, we have shown up to a gunfight with nothing but good intentions and dull knives. And that era is over. We are not going to unilaterally disarm. And that's what's different this time around. And so to the governor of this state, of Illinois, the governor of California and New York, thank you for standing tall with us. We need our other Democratic governors in New Jersey, New Mexico, Maryland, Jersey, Maryland, Oregon, and Washington. We need for them to stand with us now also. This is serious business. This is absolutely serious business. Democracy is at stake here, and we have to keep fighting Donald Trump each and every step of the way. With that, I now call back to the podium Representative Harold Dutton, who I served with out of Houston. Harold.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me start by saying my name is Harold Dutton. I'm from Houston. Most people say I'm from Fifth Ward. And I guess that's true. One of the things I learned in Fifth Ward, after 7th grade, was that we learned that in order to have democracy, it had to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. But in Texas, what we've changed that to is we're going to have democracy by being of the party, by the party, and for the party. That's right. that's absolutely crazy. And I want to correct something, and I think Representative Beasley said it. We're not running from anything. We're trying to make sure that when democracy is in Texas, it is going to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. And secondly, if you see us running in a fight, we're chasing somebody. Now, let me end with this. I'm here because one of my constituents told me, she said, well, if you all are going to hang separately, you might as well hang together. And so I'm here with my colleagues because I don't think we're going to hang. Because another constituent said to me, Representative Green, said, you know the story in the Bible about Haman and Mordecai? Haman built the gallows for Mordecai. And guess who they put on the gallows first? Haman. And so I think all of this is going to backfire on these Republicans because I think they have raised democracy issues so far and so high that the people in Texas now are getting the message. And that's one of the reasons we're here. I'm thankful for the Illinois delegation. I have worked with them before. My first cousin was Monique Davis, who was a member of the Illinois delegation for a long time. She said to tell you all hello to because she wanted to come over. I had to stop her from doing that. But again, I think that the challenge for us is really to make sure that our people get the vote. And we're going to do that. Now with that, let me stop and introduce me. No, I'm going to introduce Sojourner Truth. Better known as Jasmine Crockett.
I will be your last and final speaker, but let me tell you something. I want to make sure that I make it clear who these people that are standing behind me are. Because I don't think that the American people truly understand the amount of sacrifice that these warriors and heroes are making right now. Most people don't understand that in the Texas House, you only get paid $7,000 as it is as a salary. But these people are saying, listen, we are going to do our job because we understand our oath, unlike those that serve on the federal level and are Republicans, as well as those that serve in our current Supreme Court and happen to have been appointed by Republicans, as well as those that serve in the Texas House right now and happen to be Republicans. These are people that understand what it is to be a representative. They understand their constituencies, and instead of trying to stomp on them, they want to do everything that they can to stomp for them. And so that's why they're here. Now let me say, this governor talks a lot of noise, and I made sure that I put up my warrant from 4 years ago to make it plain that they talk a lot of noise, but these guys are weak. That's why they're over here trying to bully people. Bullies are always weak. The difference is they expect Democrats to kind of be the nice guys that we are. They expect us to take the punch and say thank you. Well, I am here to tell you not only are we going to punch back, but we about to beat you down. We're going to win. I'm going to tell you why we're going to win, because people are tired. And as it's already been said, we got a few truth tellers that came before us. A number of them came out of Texas. So I need y'all to understand that maybe you haven't learned these amazing warriors' names, but you will know their names. Y'all know how the president feels about me. Got my training ground right there in Texas. We know that there was another amazing black woman out of the state of Texas by the name of Barbara Jordan that had to check another corrupt president by the name of Nixon. So I'm here to tell you, just like I told a group of folk in Arizona yesterday. Frankie Beverly and Mays said it best. We are one. For everyone that's been asking, where are the Democrats? Well, here they are. For everyone that's been asking, where is the fight? Well, here it is. But let me tell you something. Don't leave them out on the ledge by themselves. They need to know that you, the American people, stand with them because they are standing for you. There are so many people that they will never meet, but they understand the importance of making sure that they have a voice when it comes to their government. They understand the importance of standing for what democracy is and making sure that it does not fall by the wayside. They understand that we have a Timmu Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States. Well, I got another thing to tell you, sir. The Democrats, no matter whether we're talking about these Texas House Democrats, or whether we're talking about the governor from Illinois, the governor from California, or whether we're talking about New York, or I can go through the states and it's not just the governors. It is the state houses. It is the state senators. It is those congressional delegations that are saying, do what you gotta do and I will fight and I will win and I will earn my seat back to the people's house in DC. I am here to tell you that time is up for playing in our faces. The Democrats are not going to stand for this any longer. We know that we are standing for the people. And so long as we stand for the people, I absolutely believe the people are going to stand for us.
Right.
So I just want to be clear. Do whatever you can to support these heroes. Because they are the ones that had to leave their families. They are the ones that have warrants out for their arrest. They are the ones that are doing things that, honestly, a lot of other people do not have the audacity to do. So make sure when you talk about them, press, put some respect on their names. I appreciate y'all.
Is our closer.
Oh, we're done.
Question?
We're done.
How will you pay for this? Mr. Wu, are you taking questions?
Yes, we are. We done. That's what it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm State Representative Ron Reynolds, and I'm proud to serve as the Chair Emeritus of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus under the great leadership of our Chairwoman, Barbara Gerben Hawkins, and as Vice Chair of the House Democratic Caucus under the great leadership of Chairman Gene Wu. And we're all united, standing on the right side of history. You know, Congressman BC's right. It was 60 years ago that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed into law. And it was signed by a great Texan by the name of Lyndon Baines Johnson. But that Voting Rights Act didn't come easy. It came as a result of people who made the ultimate sacrifice, people who we may remember, like Congressman John Lewis, who made good trouble. He risked his life to end Jim Crow. He did everything with other freedom fighters. They took freedom rides. They sat at lunch counters. They did everything they could to end poll taxes and literacy tests. And thank God, many of us here today would not be here but for the Voting Rights Act of 1965. It was, as Congresswoman Crockett said, Barbara Jordan, who was the first African-American Congresswoman from the South since Reconstruction. She was only there because of that bill. And here we are on the right side of history trying to stop the Texas steal by Abbott and Trump. They want to take us back. They literally want to take us back by disenfranchising Black and brown communities. And we say no. No, we say hell no. Not on our watch. We will not allow you to turn back the clock. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue speaking truth to power. We're going to continue doing everything we can to protect the precious fundamental right to vote. And I will end with this. Our scripture teaches us in Proverbs 31:8-9 to speak out for the one who cannot speak, for the rights of those who are doomed. Speak out, judge fairly, and defend the rights of oppressed and needy people. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that the Democrats are going to keep speaking out. We're going to call out the racist gerrymander that President Trump, these MAGA extremists like Trump, like Abbott, want to push down our throats. Not on our watch. We're not going back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to give a special thank you to the IBEW for hosting us. And thank you for all the fighters from Illinois who have been so nice to us. We're not going to do group questions. Members will be available for individual interviews if you want. But we do, the Democrats, our House Democrats do actually have to make another meeting, so we have a limited amount of time.
Folks, that was a group of Texas Democrat state representatives as well as U.S. House members just concluding a news conference in Chicago. 51 Texas Democrats have left the state, preventing the Texas House of Representatives from having a quorum, which stops Republicans from being able to pass the racist gerrymandered maps they presented late last week. This is critically important because in order to vote on these maps, the House has to be in session, but there has to be a quorum. The Republicans control the legislature, control the House, more than 20 votes. So 51 Democrats had to leave the state, meaning you don't have the jurisdiction. Understand what happens in Texas. The law allows for the governor to send Texas state troopers to literally, not to use arrest, but let's say bring a legislator back to the state capitol in order for them to be in session. So by leaving the state, Texas no longer has any jurisdiction to be able to arrest a lawmaker to come back and be present in the state capitol. That's why they're in Chicago. Earlier.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.